Hello all, and welcome to tonight's whiskey review. Well, since time is going on, and my pay is not rising, and my savings depleting, it's going to be getting kind of thin in regards to reviews. But I'm going to go and try to make it as gentle as possible by looking for things that are affordable yet still quite drinkable. And in the spirit of that, I'd like to introduce to this today, which I believe is the best whiskey that you're going to find under $15 a bottle. Now, this is George Dickel Tennessee Sour Mash Whiskey, the number 8 recipe. I'm not sure. I've already reviewed the number 12 whiskey, which I kind of gave a meh review. I'd actually like to return to it, because I enjoyed this a lot more. I find I enjoyed this a lot more than the number 12, and I'd like to go and see what it was exactly, and the difference that made me go like that. Now, George Dickel is sort of like the lesser-known Tennessee whiskey. The other Tennessee whiskey that everyone knows is Jack Daniel's. I don't really like Jack Daniel's. I do like George Dickel, and I believe it tastes better than Jack Daniel's, and it's also cheaper than Jack Daniel's at this point. So, let me go and read the label here, because you know me, I like to read labels. Back in 1870, George Dickel began fulfilling his dream of crafting the smoothest Tennessee whiskey around. George believed that to make the best whiskey, there was only one ingredient that he needed most: time. Well, more than a century has passed since George distilled his first batch. We continue to honor George's timeless craftsmanship by letting our whiskey rest as long as it needs to before bottling. Inspired early on, George discovered that his whiskey made in the cold winter months tasted smoother. Today we follow this tradition by chilling our whiskey before filtering it through sugar maple charcoal. We think our unique chilled filtration process makes a fine whiskey. Hope you agree. Like I said before, I think that the chill filtration process is actually fairly interesting. It really makes for a smooth whiskey. It also makes for a whiskey that doesn't have any very distinct marks to it. But in that case, maybe I'm coming around to the idea that this is just something that you drink, in the sense that, there's session beers that you just drink for the joy of drinking. So this is 80 proof, so about bog standard sort of bottle strength, and a fine light yellow orange in coloration. Not very thick. Like all Tennessee whiskeys, is fairly high corn. I would imagine it's above 80% corn in the mash bill. I don't know the mash bill exactly. If someone does, you can probably go and enlighten me. Now, the number 12 version is, the straight version. I believe the 80 is slightly watered. I don't know what the cask strength is for George Dickel. Honestly, I find a lot more nuance in the 8 as opposed to the 12, even though most whiskey reviewers give the 12 higher ratings. There's oaky, vanilla, as you would expect. Pretty heavy corn as a backbone. And some nice kind of fruity notes. Say apricot. All in all, it really kind of blends together. That's what I find the filtration process does. It smoothens it out, but it makes those distinct edges kind of rounded. They don't really pop. Excuse me. They don't really pop as much. You know, this is really smooth. It drinks like a really good whiskey should on the palate. There's like no burn, nothing. Converse to that is it's kind of well, it's there. Get a nice sort of creaminess to the finish. In terms of mouthfeel, not so much taste. And just a very slight little bit of spice there. Absolutely, just a touch of rye to the mash bill. You know, there is taste there, but like I said, it's all just kind of mushed together. That said, that sort of mushiness, you know, it's just fairly pleasant. It kind of is all there, and you know, you just sort of sip it. It's like a good blended Scotch would be. You know, you wouldn't say, oh yeah, you know, there's nothing that really stands out in a good blended Scotch, but it's enjoyable to drink. Woodiness, caramel, just smooth, creamy mouthfeel. Touch of that sour mash on the finish, I find. Now you notice I didn't really as you notice when I review whiskeys, I also usually have one either with a splash of water or one that's on the rocks. Something as mellow as this, I don't think would do too well with either water or on the rocks. It would start tasting really diluted really quickly. For some people that would be a plus. For me, I kind of don't want to go there. It's not something I really enjoy. You know, but that's just for your information. So if you like that sort of whiskey taste, but you find it straight a little bit too much, try it on the rocks or with a splash of water. It's probably still going to be pretty smooth. There's a bit of lemon to it too, I find. Just a wee bit. Or is that just a sour mash? It's hard to tell, like I said. It's all there. It's all just kind of mushed there. And like I said, the mushiness is not bad. This is all mushed together for a nice, smooth sipping whiskey, shooting whiskey, mixing whiskey. You know, at $15 a bottle, under $15 a bottle, you can do whatever you want with this, really. So I suppose it's pretty versatile. Now, if I had the money, would I drink lots of this? Likely not. If I went to a bar and it was there and there was very little else available, I probably would order it because I do enjoy drinking it. Like I said, I tend to enjoy things with a bit more character, which kind of precludes most Tennessee whiskeys, which by their very nature try to emphasize smoothness and lack of outstanding points as their sort of drink profile. So I'm kind of losing myself here. That said, if you're short on bucks, if you got like, you know, less than $20, this is what you're going to get, man. This is what I recommend that you get. Because you'll be drinking pour style, but you won't be feeling pour style. No bad taste, no off taste. Like when I say, it sounds like I'm giving this a pretty bad review. Oh, it's so, so smooth, well-rounded, it's kind of mushy, but there's no off tastes. There's no burn. There's nothing particularly negative. It's just not towards my particular taste profile. Somebody would probably, I know a lot of people would drink this and be like, this is what I'm going to drink for the rest of my life. Because some people find a drink and stick with it. I'm just kind of rambling right now because I'm a little bit drunk, I suppose. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one off and say, if you don't got $20, if you don't got $15, but you want to get your drink on, and you want to do it with something that's not going to feel like shit on your palate or make you sick, get this. So folks, that's your Tennessee whiskey review for tonight. Cheers! Oh boy. Good night, folks.